All right, hi, welcome back. So today we are going to solve compound inequalities. So when we look at this first one, we have an or, and we'll get to that when we graph. So first, we're just going to solve this equation, or I'm sorry, inequality, and we're going to solve this inequality. Okay, so let's see what those each are, and then I will show you how we graph them and how to interpret the solution. All right, so this looks like a two-step inequality, so we will subtract our 14 from both sides, leaving us with 5x is less than negative 10. Divide both by 5, and we have x is less than negative 2. Okay, and on this one, we are going to distribute the negative 2. Now, these are two completely separate inequalities, okay, connected by the or, but you solve them separately. So we have negative 2x plus 16 is less than negative 2. So we're going to subtract 16 from both sides, and we have negative 2x is less than negative 18. Divide by negative 2. Oh, divide by a negative. What does that do to the sign? It flips it. So that will be x, flip the sign, and negative is a positive. So in this case, x is greater than 9. So we have two answers here, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and make a number line. And I have to have both of those numbers on my number line. So I'm just going to do number 2, negative 2, because it's the smallest over here. And I'll put a 9 over here. I'm not really worried about spacing, okay? So I think I'm going to outline this one in orange. And first I'm going to graph this one. So it says x is less than negative 2. So that's going to be an open circle. And I am going to go in this direction, okay? Now let's do this one in hot pink here. So x is greater than 9. So open circle, and it's greater than 9. So both of these would work. If I asked you to pick a number that was either less than negative 2 or greater than 9, you could pick 18 and you'd be correct. Or you could pick negative 3, you'd be correct. But if you picked 5, it doesn't fall in between either of those graphs, and so that would be wrong. So it's just this area that is not covered in here, okay? All right, let's look at the next one. There's another or, so again, we're going to solve them as two separate inequalities, and then put them on one number line. All right, so subtract 2. We have 6x is less than or equal to negative 18. Divide by 6, and we'll end up with x is less than or equal to negative 3. Okay, and on this side, let's see, I have negative 9, negative 9. Kind of weird seeing this because we're used to seeing them in standard form. So we have negative 4x is less than 0. Then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. And that will leave us with x. Oh, it's a negative, so I'm flop the sign, switch that sign, and this will be 0. Okay, so once again, let's make a graph. And I'm going to put both of these numbers on them. Negative 3 is the smaller number, so that will go here, and 0 is the larger over here. All right, so I'm going to start by graphing this one right here. So it's x is equal to, so that will be colored in, now colored in, or less than negative 3. So it's everything to this direction, so that's less than. Now the other one I will graph in a different color, and we have x is greater than 0, so it does not include 0, but it is greater than 0. And so everything on either one of these, it didn't matter which color, all of those are answers because it said it could be one or the other, doesn't matter to them. Now this one is different. You're going to notice that we don't have an or sign in there. So with this one, you need to solve it, and it's going to be an and. It's an and statement. So sometimes you'll see it with the word and sometimes you'll see it like this. So we want x to be by itself. So we now have not just two sides, we have basically three things going on here. We need to keep all of these in the same proportion. So I want x to be by itself, but I want to keep it in the middle. So I'm going to subtract 3. Well, if I subtract 3, I have to subtract 3 from here. I also have to subtract 3 from here. So it's like we're double solving equations all at the same time. So we have negative 8 is less than 2x, which is, and it's also less than or equal to 9. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and, oh, I'm sorry, 9, that should be a 6. Let's get rid of that, 6. Okay, now I'm going to divide this by 2, which means I have to divide this by 2, and I have to divide this by 2. That's really annoying. All right, on this side we'll have negative 4 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 3. So the way we read this is we can say x is greater than negative 4, but x is less than or equal to 3. So this is an and statement. So let's go ahead and put both of these numbers on the number line. Smaller one goes over here, so negative 4, and we'll do 3. Okay, I'm going to do this one in orange. I should say this one in orange. So x is greater than negative 4. So I'm going to put it right up here. X is greater than, I'm going to do an open circle and read it backwards. So x is greater than. So this time it doesn't work by doing this, okay? Because think of this one. This is really x is greater than negative 4. So you have to read it backwards, okay? So x is larger than negative 4, which will point in this direction. Now we're going to go ahead and graph this one. And we have x is equal to or less than 3. So it can equal 3. So I'm going to color that dot in. Or it is anything less than 3. Now this time it said and. So it has to be both of them. So for this first equation, the negative 4 does not work. So the negative 4 will not work for either of these. So it's open because it had to work for both, and it doesn't. It only works for the one we did in pink. The 3 works for both of them because it's colored in here and the line went over the 3 here. And it worked for everything in between here. So our answers are right in here. Those are the only thing that are both. So if I said you had to pick a number that was greater than negative 4, but less than or equal to 3, the only numbers that would work would be the numbers right inside here because it has to work for both of them. So again, it's the blue one. That's our answer. Okay? See you later.